5 already of our 7 days of live. And I'm sorry last night was such a train wreck. Yesterday was kind of woo all day. And you know, God gives you those days like that so you can appreciate days like today, which has gone swimmingly well. We did have the little ceiling issue at the other place. So tonight we are in one of my other favorite places to be. We're in my paint booth. So tonight we're going to have some fun with caviar. I get asked all the time because most people that know me know that I spray a lot of paint. Not sexy, not exciting. It's not nearly as enchanting as watching some of these people rub it on with a brush, and that's perfectly fine because y'all know me, I don't care about that kind of thing anyway. We are going to work on a project tonight because I get people that ask me all the time about spraying paints. I do use a self-propelled sprayer. It's an Earlex 5500. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through the procedures. I'm going to show you how quickly I can lay down some paint on a piece of furniture because I know that I get messages from people on a daily basis that they're very nervous about spraying paint. I get it. I had my sprayer for 6 months and I only ran water through it because I was so nervous about spraying paint. So just so you know, I get it. I totally get that you're nervous about spraying paint. Practice with water on a piece of cardboard. That's what a good friend of mine told me, and it worked like a charm. Also, I want to say thank you for this card. I'm going to take a minute and do this. You guys can drop off, whatever. But this right here was the most thoughtful card that somebody sent me. I think in today's times, we do everything electronically, and we're very quick to say mean things to somebody via text message or email. I get more mean emails than you can imagine because if everything's not perfect, it's easy to say that. Somebody took the time to send me the sweetest card you would not believe because of something that happened. It was a problem, and I'm totally responsible for all orders, whether it's a shipping issue or whatever issue. And she took the time to say thank you, and I want to put it out there. Thank you so much for the card. It meant more than you can imagine. When I got that at the end of the day yesterday, it was amazing. Okay, enough about that. So tonight we're going to talk about spraying. And yes, we are giving away paint. I announced the day 3 winner. I have not announced the day 4 winner, but like and share and comment so that you can be entered, and somebody is going to get free paint. We may give caviar as the free color. Okay, so mine is a self-propelled sprayer. My girl Sandy has one. She took my recommendation, and she absolutely loves it. So tonight, you can hear my fan running in the background. In my paint booth, I actually have a ventilation system set up so that it cleans the air before it puts it back out into the rest of my warehouse. And so tonight, we are going to talk about painting. I do not shake my paint. I do not like paint shaken because it creates air bubbles. And I don't care if you're brushing it, I don't care if you're spraying it, I don't care what you're doing with paint. If you do it, if you shake it, that's totally up to you. But I prefer mine to be stirred. And you know, it really doesn't take an extra minute, and this is coming from the queen of instant gratification. So if I can take time to stir it, I'm just telling you, you get so much better a mixture if you stir your paint. I don't care if it's a fresh jar you just opened. I don't care what it is. You're going to get a better mixture if you take time to stir. I don't know if you guys know that much about spraying, but you want to have about 1 drop a second if you're running through a self-propelled sprayer with a 1.8 nozzle. But, I mean, your sprayer may be different. Every single bit of paint that I spray, I run it through a little filter because I don't care what it is. I don't want to go in my sprayer and clogging it up. Oh, and by the way, something that I'm going to spray later, but it's a gift so I can't show you. If you guys get a chance, look up Sinopoly. These guys are the bomb diggity. They have everything that you can need. Here's a better one. They have every single thing you can need for gifts and such as that, and Billy and Ellen are amazing. Okay, so we're going to shove my little chair out of the way, and I'm hoping you guys can see what we're doing. So I have already mixed my paint. so that I wouldn't have to bore you to death. But typically I use about 2 ounces of water to 16 ounces of paint. But it varies by color. I got to be straight up honest with you. It varies by color. And I run it through my little filter because I don't want messiness in my sprayer. And I like to wipe off my thing. And you'll notice I have my own little containers. That way it's got the measurements on the side, so I know how much water as to how much paint. And it does take an extra minute to run this through here, but it's really, in the grand scheme of things, it does so much better if you take the time to make sure your viscosity is correct and to make sure that you have strained your paint. If you don't strain your paint and you get lumps in your sprayer, it just slows you down like you can't imagine. So you can do it while you're trying to get started, or you can do it later, and then you have to go in and wash everything out. So I always keep baby wipes in here because I am the messiest painter in the world. All right, so I always throw my filter back over here until I finish painting. This is my gun head right here. This differentiates which direction it sprays, horizontally or vertically. And this controls the amount of fluid that comes through there. And you can tell my sweet little thing has been loved to death. All right, now normally I wear a mask, so you guys are going to have to hang tight. And also, those of you who don't think your pieces need to be clean, this is what I cleaned off of the piece that we are about to paint. This towel was clean when I started with my White Lightning. So just so you know, it's desperate that you clean. All right, I'm going to turn you guys around and drop you down a little so you guys can see how quickly we can knock this out, okay, with a sprayer. And it's a much smoother finish than you could ever hope to achieve with a brush. And I know some of you guys are great brushers, but I'm just going to tell you, it's amazeballs what you can do with it. Hang tight, I got to get you ready. All right, so now you can see the front of our piece that we're doing. And a lot of times, if you're doing something like this, this is a quick way to kind of get around everything. I'm going to go back and do the edges, but if you'll open your drawers slightly so that the lip of your drawers show, and I've already gone behind this drawer a little bit, it will help you get started, but it won't get paint into the tops of your drawers. So be very mindful of where it's open. This piece is already clean, and I just want you to see how quickly it happens. No matter what, when you're aerating anything, make sure that you wear something to protect your lungs and everything. I live in mine. All right, now this is going to be loud for a minute, so hold tight and just watch the paint. Hang on, I'm not getting enough pressure for some reason. All right, here we go. Looks like we're going to have a replay of last night. We're not getting enough pressure, and I don't know what the answer is. So hang tight. Well, It is. It's caught up. Hang tight just a minute. That's how it goes sometimes, and I'm sorry. Alright, let's put this deal back together and try it again. It's like it's not getting pressure, and I don't know why, because it was working fine earlier. And that's what happens when you do a live. You get paint all over you, but not on your piece of furniture. Alright, let's go with this again. Okay, so you guys can see how quickly this compares to your regular painting. It goes on very quickly, and typically I do no, I don't like Wagner. I like Earlex. Typically I go over it a couple of different times so that we get 2 coats of paint on there. And yes, I spend a lot of time sitting in the floor, but you can see how it makes a big difference as far as not only how quickly your paint goes on, but the ease with which you paint a piece of furniture. It's not nearly so stressful, and also it gives you the smoothest coat you can imagine. I see people complain all the time, especially working with a dark color like Caviar. They have a real hard time with streaky top coats and things. I don't have that problem, and that's why it's really hard for me to understand that problem, because the streaky top coats, if you spray, you don't have that problem. I do mix mine with water, 2 ounces of water to 16 ounces of paint usually, but it varies by color. I do have a lot of light in my booth, and I do have a how to make your own paint booth video on YouTube and on my Facebook page, because it really makes your life so much easier. And if you have light all around, you can get a good spray on your whole piece. It doesn't stress you out so much because you don't have to worry about brush strokes because you're not brushing. You don't have to worry about sponges leaving pieces. You don't have as many worries if you spray. And I know that it's not for everybody, and I get that. But it does give you a lot more opportunity to make everything smooth. And typically I spray most of my base coats, and I spray a big part of my top coats. And yes, then I go back and I do all of my detail work by hand, and then I pull it back in here. If you'll notice, it's on rolly carts. And so I bring it in here to spray it, and then I put it back out in the main area when I'm working on something else, and do all of my little detail work. And then it makes things so much easier. It's so much less stressful if you don't have to worry about streaks or top coats, especially if you do custom work for other people. And I wanted you guys to see, it's really easy. This is what my little setup looks like. I've had mine for almost 4 years, and I think I paid $300 for it. You can get it on Amazon for about $300 now. And I mean, mine gets used just about every single day on something. I've sprayed wicker with it, I've sprayed wood, I've sprayed laminate, I've sprayed everything with my sprayer. It really makes things so much easier. And I wanted you to see, doing it with something like Caviar, which is one of the darker colors that people have issues with, it makes a huge difference. This holds 32 ounces. I usually don't fill it up because when you first start, it gets kind of heavy if it's got 32 ounces. So I usually put about 16, maybe 20 ounces in it and spray until it gets low, and then I add more paint if I need to. Cabinet doors, I'm telling you, life is so much easier if you're doing kitchens with a sprayer. There's lots of sprayers you can use. This one does not have to be connected to an air compressor. I have a monster air compressor because I love power tools. And I used to have to be fastened to my air compressor all the time. This way, my whole setup weighs 13 pounds. If I'm working in a house that's a new build, I can carry mine, spray my cabinets, and be done. I can spray furniture, I can do whatever, because the whole thing is 13 pounds. Do I feel like I go through more or less paint? That's a great question. I go through about the same amount of paint as if I brushed it. Maybe a little more, but the overspray on this Earlex is minimal. I could just about write my name with it now. I'm so used to it. It is an Earlex 5500 spray station. Hey, Sandy, can you put an Amazon link on here for the Earlex? And Sandy can put an Amazon link on here maybe, and that way you guys can see what it is and go through there. I would recommend getting a breather. Dixie Belle is no VOCs, but I gotta tell you, you've got to, anything you aerate, you need to have a breather. They're inexpensive. Yes, I do have a remote for, I'm a lazy girl. You know, I'm a chubby girl. I'm a lazy girl. So I keep mine plugged in, and I cut it on and off. I bought this years ago to control my Christmas lights, but it now controls my sprayer in my paint booth, and it's so much more useful here. So I have one that controls the lights, and I have one that controls the sprayer. So I leave it plugged in all the time, and then that way I don't even have to bend my lazy fanny over to cut it off because it sits on the floor. So Sandy put up the link to the sprayer if you guys are interested. So I just wanted you to see, and a lot of times when I'm spraying, I'll spray and then turn a fan on it because it speeds up the whole process. Spray your paint, cut a fan on it. Spray your paint, cut a fan on it. I did 6 coats in one day, and that's the Caviar piece of furniture that got wrapped in plastic the day after it was painted. So it really gives a great coat, it gives a good finish, and if you throw a fan on it, it dries that mess quickly. Anybody have any more questions? Sandy put up a link for the sprayer. If you find me on YouTube, it tells you exactly how I put together my paint booth. I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys want to send me one. And Caviar, you guys are going to get to see how pretty this desk is going to be when we're done. I just love the lines of it. I've got one little boo-boo here that we've got to fix. It needs a little piece of a wooden dowel put in there, but other than that, it's got such beautiful lines that once it's painted Caviar and given a little personality, like you know I like to do, it'll be the bomb diggity, and it'll have another life, I hope. So, does anybody have any questions? I don't want to bore you guys, but I am going to get off with you guys and finish spraying my piece because I don't want to keep you guys on here to watch me spray. Hey, Lynn. Okay, no more questions. I will put up finished pictures. This probably won't be finished for a few days because tomorrow I am at the store all day. Also, don't forget, I got a special on the website. Go on there and order some paint from me if you get a chance. And I've got classes scheduled for January. And I'm thinking about doing a painting boot camp this spring for 4 people. Only 4 people. And it's going to be 3 days long. And we are going to do nothing but paint. Paint, paint, paint. So, if you're interested, reach out to me because I'm thinking of painting boot camp, and we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a great evening.